Namaste. Again, it's a joy to join all of you. I'm sure you must be enjoying this course and must be trying some recipes and use of the spices, etc. I want to share another set of knowledge with you. As much as it is important that what you eat, what spices you use, and what kind of recipes you use, the same importance is also how you eat. And when you eat food from outside, then that goes into the body, and then that goes through the digestive system. It becomes part of you, which means yoga of you. And that's why this presentation that I am giving is called Yoga of Eating. Through eating, you create union with food to your body. So it is important that how you eat and what is the environment, the process. So there are few golden rules, I would like to call this. And most important is food must be taken in proper place. So this modern concept of trying to save time and drive through and getting the fast food and eat while driving is not most ideal for getting maximum from the food. It should be as much a ritual as anything else. So which means we should be 100% when we are eating 100% available when we are eating the food. And food is not only related to taste. We think that we put the food inside, goes to the digestive system, and we get all out of it, so it's only related to taste. But no, all the five senses, perception of food and experience of food through all the five senses helps us to transform that into good nutrition, not only giving the physical nutrient but also nourishing mind, nourishing emotions, so we get 100% out of it. So the smell of food, taste of food, touch of food on the tongue, all these things actually matter. And that can only be accomplished when you are 100% there. No rush, you are just attending that. You are completely available. So when you sit, you have the food, all the colors of the food, you should be looking, enjoying, they should be pleasing to you, and the smell should be pleasing, and you should say whatever grace you have before you eat. You can say your prayer, and then have a quiet moment, close your eyes, say the prayer so that you are there. And the place where you are eating, it should be neat and clean and nice temperature and nice smell, feeling at home, eating with people who are dear to you, no noise, not watching TV while you are eating, not even talking. So all those things to be kept in mind. And another thing, the tradition that we have right now for eating is using fork and spoons, and which is fine. But there is some value of eating with hands, because when the touch is the most important aspect, and it's closest to each physiology. So when you touch the food, you feel it, and then you put in your mouth, and then the touch with the fingers, it has different kind of nourishing value in it. It has different kind of connection to it. So if you prepare by your own hands and eat with hands, ideal. If not, no one is necessarily need to just try to forcibly do it. Yeah. And sometimes some things we have to use fork, and but it has to be prepared with loving hands if possible, because it is also the emotions and the feelings that you have when you are starting the process of cooking the foods, cutting the vegetables, chopping them, cleaning them, and cooking them. What kind of emotions, feelings you have, you basically, those molecules of emotions also go into the cooking process, and then when you put that food in, if you are cooking with happy mind and happy emotions, then that's the energy that you will get. So it's important that you prepare the food with good intention, in good mood, and with loving hands. And saying the grace before the meals, another important thing, without any distractions. So as I mentioned, that your attention should be just there, and take the food with the proper frame of mind. So if you have stress, then try to relax, take a deep breath before eating, try to completely relax, get 100% attention on the food, and you have the intention that you are taking that food, the prana in the food, and then you want to increase that prana, you want to increase that good positive energy in the body. So that is important. Another very important point here is the chewing of the food, because on the tongue we have the taste buds, and then food we take in the physical form. We can take the proteins as of meat and lentils, and we can take the bread or any kind of fat, but we have to chew it properly. By chew, there are several things that happen. One, that's why we have the teeth. We don't have teeth in the gut, so they cannot do the job. The gut cannot do the job of what teeth does, which is physically breaking down the food into minutest part. In Ayurveda, we say, eat the solid food like drinking, which means chew it so much that it becomes like liquidy, and drink like you are eating. So which means don't just quickly gulp the whole glass of water, but slowly sip by sip. So which means you're like eating. It is going very slow into the stomach, so that the stomach doesn't feel full all of a sudden a lot. So that's why we have to chew, and by chew also we expose the food to the taste buds, and there could be different tastes in the same food. So every taste bud gets excited, stimulated, and then sends the signal into the brain, and brain then prepares specific enzymes to be secreted in places where they are needed to digest the specific foods. So these are the benefits of chewing the food, and it is in some ways more nourishing, and it releases the stress. So that's why it is important that we chew the food properly before it goes down through the throat. And it's important that we take the food when it is warm. When it is body likes the warm temperature, because body is body temperature, so warm food is much easier to digest. And an important thing here also to know is that in the stomach, the enzymes, stomach and small intestine enzymes works better at body temperature. So if it is cooler, then the enzyme's effectivity is compromised. It's not as much. So same rule also applies, that when you are eating warm food, try to drink anything, juices or water, at room temperature, either room temperature or warm, but not certainly cold. Ice cold water, the ice cold beverages, Pepsi, Coke, juices, not good, because then it is conflicting. Warm food and then cold drink, and also it cools down the temperature here, so enzymes may not be as effective. So that's why take warm food and warm drinks. Also, there has to be enough quantity of oiliness or moist, because the first step of the digestion is mixing of food, and mixing of food happens in two places, first in the mouth and then in the stomach. The main function of stomach is basically mixing the food, and for mixing there is specific normal amount of moist in the form of either water or soups, and also oiliness in the form of good fat. It could be in the form of ghee, it could be the food cooked with some specific oils, like maybe coconut oil, olive oil, or sunflower oil according to dosha type, or ghee, which is good for all the three doshas. So there has to be enough of these oils, because that helps for the digestion. And the food must not have opposite qualities. So mixing hot as a temperature or spicy with very cold at the same time. They could be taken in a proper sequence, but not at the same time. Mixing them together, opposite qualities, is not good. Same thing is like sweet mixing with sour, not good. So try to remember, don't take opposite qualities at the same time. And while eating, this is another good question that people ask, while eating, how much to drink? So for Vata, usually sips may be good, but I prefer to drink like say half an hour or 10 or 20 minutes after. For Pitta, those who are Pitta constituent, Pitta Prakriti or Pitta type, then they can drink, they can sip water during. And the Kapha actually have to wait at least 45 minutes to 1 hour to drink the fluid. But never too much, because then it can dilute the enzymes and can affect the digestion. Avoid ice cold drinks, we talked about that. And just fully attend, have confidence that you are going to get the nutrients. After you finish the eating, it is good to take some rest. And sometimes people, particularly yogis, the yoga teachers, they recommend to sit on the diamond posture for at least 5 minutes. Diamond posture is like sitting on the heels with spine straight. So that's diamond posture, and that helps actually to settle down the food, and then helps for the digestion. And after you have done that for 5 minutes, if your time and work allows, then go for a not brisk walk, but just for a little walk, like maybe say half a kilometer, maybe say 200 steps, 300 steps, and that's it. And this another important point here is when to eat next meal. So which means when food goes in there, it stays in the stomach for about 45 minutes, and then it goes into the duodenum, processes there about 1 to 2 hours. So generally speaking, we should not eat anything before 3 hours. But again, it depends. If you are eating red meat and heavy meal, then the time duration between 2 meals is extended to 4 or 5 hours. But if you are eating just soup or some snack or some rice, that digests quicker, so which means 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hours. Then in that case, you can have another small meal even after 2 hours. It all depends upon where is the digestion process. If you feel like stomach is empty and you feel light, food is digested, then you can take next meal. So that's very important part. So these are some golden rules, and I can tell you, as much as people think that they need digestive enzymes or they need probiotics and all those things, if we eat properly according to our dosha type, in proper time, in proper place, and properly cooked, and following these rules, I can tell you that you will immensely benefit, and gradually over a few weeks, over a month, the quality, immunity, and also the satisfaction and flow of radiance will keep increasing, and your health will become better.